At the Chepauk in Chennai on Friday, and I must confess here that my appetite has really been whetted by what happened in Australia. And then, of course, let's not forget what England did in Sri Lanka. So, much as a lot of people have thought or believed that this could be a very one-sided series with India winning comfortably, because remember in 2016 when England were here, India won 4-0. I beg to differ a bit. I mean, yes, if whichever team, and certainly India, wins thumpingly the first test, then it could set a pattern which England might find very difficult to reverse. Though there has been an occasion in the past when England lost the first test and went on to win the series. Remember 2012, Kevin Peterson, Alistair Cook, Monty Panesar, Graham Swan, and James Anderson. I mean, they just swung the series around and went home with the rubber. Not easy to do every time. They don't have a batsman of the caliber of a Kevin Peterson in that sense, an attacking batsman, though Joe Root, who's going to play his 100 test match, has been in spankingly good form. He's now emerged as arguably, a lot of people in England believe he's their best batsman since Sir Len Hutton. So that's really tall praise, and that's a huge burden to carry. He's also the captain. But the point I'm trying to make is that England did extremely well in Sri Lanka with spin, with their fast bowlers, and they've been reinforced with the return of Ben Stokes, Jofra Archer, Joe Root is there, Ollie Pope has come in, Josh Butler is still there. They're a little fragile in the batting, but in bowling they've got three spinners who they can pick on: Moeen Ali, Leach, Bess, and then there's the fast bowlers, Anderson, Broad, Vokes, and Stokes. So it's a mighty unit if things start going well for them from the first test itself. First test, of course, as we know, without crowd. Second test at the same venue will have people coming in. But for me, the important thing is all the top players from both teams are there, except you could say Johnny Best was missing from England, and of course because of injury, Jadeja and Shami still not in the thick of it, in the midst of the selection or in the squad, so they are out. But otherwise, Virat Kohli has returned, Ishant Sharma has come back, Hardik Pandya is in the squad, though I don't think he's likely to play. So it's a formidable array of talent. I think that's one thing which makes it very compelling, and also the fact that in the backdrop is the World Test Championship. I've been speaking about this repeatedly, the World Test Championship, because it's very important. Now that Australia unfortunately couldn't tour South Africa, so they are out of contention for finding a place in the World Test Championships. India is still there. England's prospects have brightened. New Zealand is in the running. So how the series pans out could affect the fortunes of India or England, or in fact both. So that's something that will be playing on the minds of both captains, I would imagine, and players who are interested in such things, like getting into the World Test Championship final. Now, how do the teams square up? I mean, there's some interesting developments that have taken place where India is concerned, and we saw Virat Kohli talking about it in the press conference without quite declaring the team, the playing 11. He's given enough hints and suggestions as to who will be there in the playing 11. Pant will certainly be there. He'll also be keeping wickets. So it's not Wriddhiman Saha who will keep wickets and Pant playing as a specialist batsman. Pant will play and keep wickets. So the top order, the top six for me are Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Cheteshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, Pant. And then we have the all-rounders coming in. Ravichandran Ashwin, most certainly he is an automatic selection. Akshar Patel, now like-for-like replacement for the injured Jadeja, and this is something that Kohli highlighted, that they want to also shore up the batting. So Akshar Patel, I think it means to me that Kuldeep Yadav may have to wait a while to regain his test place, and if they are tempted to take two off-spinners, then it could be Washington Sundar who retains his place instead of an extra fast bowler. So the fast bowlers, in my opinion, could be or should be Jasprit Bumrah for certain, and I would say Mohammad Siraj coming on the back of 13 wickets in Australia, batting marvellously, and just looking like man with so much exuberance, energy, and of course the wicket taking ability. So that looks like the setup that India have. Of course, pressure on Kohli as a batsman to come back. He has to pick up the thread from where he left off in Australia. He was looking in good form there. More than that, the captaincy. There's been so much buzz about, Rahane, Kohli, is Kohli under pressure? I think that India is fortunate in that space to be in, where they've got Kohli. Apart from Kohli, there's Rahane, there's Rohit Sharma, there's Ravi Ashwin in the leadership situation. Even somebody like a Jasprit Bumrah, very strong in the leadership position. So I think that this is it's a non-issue. But yes, certainly there's pressure of expectation on the Indian team. They have to do well. Everybody wants India to win, the fans certainly, and playing at home, fans would expect them to win. So the onus is on India. The underdogs will be England, and therefore they can play a little more freely, and that could be a source of worry. Anderson, Broad, maestros at their craft. Moeen Ali always has troubled India. Ben Stokes, the X factor, and the match at Chennai, usually spinners paralyzed, but we never know how this pitch could play. Virat Kohli believes it will help also the fast bowlers. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But I'll give you some data points on what's been happening at Chennai in the past between England and India. So this is a data point for Chepauk, not just about India and England, but overall 32 matches played there. Matches won batting first 10 times, matches won bowling first 10 times. So it's been even Stevens in that sense. But this is where the interesting part comes in. Average first innings score 337, average second innings score 356. That means the pitch tends to get better on the second day. First day, of course, good for the batting. Average third innings score 240 and average fourth innings score 157. It's always very difficult to bat in the fourth innings, and more so at this ground where spinners come into their own. And as I mentioned earlier, England have, apart from Moeen Ali, Leach and Bess, who've been in very good form in Sri Lanka, so they have the luxury of playing 3 spinners as well as 3 fast bowlers. Whether they end up doing that, we'll have to wait and see. As I mentioned, Zach Crawley injured. They have a bit of a stutter at the top. Who will open? Maybe Ollie Pope will open. Then there's Root, then there's Dan Lawrence, and then there is Ben Stokes, Joss Butler. They've also got Moeen Ali, who can bat number 7, very strong number 7. If they play Chris Wokes, then he's also an all-rounder. So it's a pretty formidable batting lineup. My top picks for this match from India: Virat Kohli certainly coming back as batsman. He want to leave a stamp. Remember, there's a rivalry with Joe Root, which has been kind of ongoing for almost 7-8 years, and he would want to keep that, his lead in that sense intact. So, and as a captain, pressure on him as a captain to say, hey, we can do it. So Virat Kohli, Ashwin, and I would then look at somebody like Rishabh Pant. He could be transformational in the manner, if England rely a lot more on spin, batting at number 6, he could be transformational. So from India, my picks would be Rohit Sharma, Ravi Ashwin, and Rishabh Pant. Ravi Ashwin I see him playing a big role against Joe Root and as well as Ben Stokes. And from England, the players to watch: Joe Root obviously as batsman and captain, and Moeen Ali, as I mentioned, he's got a very good record against India, in India, overseas. In India, he needs to do a little more as a bowler, not just as a batsman. And I would say James Anderson, he's certainly on the last tour of India. Can he pick up those early wickets or come and clean up the tail? Can he provide that, initial thrust which gives his team a chance? We'll have to wait and see how the series pans out. But as I mentioned earlier, it's whetted my appetite. I think this is going to be a fantastic contest.